Every neighborhood has a heartbeat, a place that represents the cultural epicenter of the area at its core. In Boston's historic North End, that place is Boston Barber and Tattoo Company. Boston Barber and Tattoo Company has become home to A-list Boston celebrities like Gordon Hayward, Milan Lucic, Brad Marchand, and Aaron Baines. Boston Barber and Tattoo is more than just Boston's most well-known corner barbershop. It's also a tourist attraction for the hundreds and thousands of people that visit the North End throughout the year. Boston Barber and Tattoo, a North End landmark that represents the cultural epicenter of the area at its core, located at 113 Salem Street.
Welcome to another edition of the Good and Plenty podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Goodman. And today we got a great show for you. I'm going to go down to the high school level, sort of. We are talking to Zion Williamson's high school coach. His name is Lee Sorter, and he's now actually at Erskine College, a Division II school. But he coached Zion for 4 years at Spartanburg Day School, and he will give you some great off-the-court stories and what he thinks, whether he thinks Zion will take the court again this year with that knee injury. But first, today's show brought to you by betonline.ag. Go to clnsmedia.com/win or use the promo code CLNS50 to get a 50% bonus in your next deposit. Today's show also brought to you by The Athletic. Get 40% off your monthly subscription just by going to theathletic.com/Goodman. Remember, subscribe to the show wherever you listen to your podcast. You can do that. iTunes, Stitcher. You can find us in CLNS Media. You can also find me at Goodman Hoops and also at watchstadium.com. Remember, every Tuesday, Thursday, generally, the Good and Plenty podcast comes to you. We got college. We got NBA. We even got some high school. A little bit of everything for you in regards to hoops. But now, pleased to welcome in Zion Williamson's high school coach, Lee Sorter, who is now at Erskine College, Division II school, not too far away from Spartanburg Day School, where he won 3 straight state titles. And, Lee, I appreciate you joining us, and want to first get your take. The first time you saw Zion was when? Do you remember what year, what he was like at that point?
Yeah. Thank you, first of all, for having me. It's really a joy for me to join in on this podcast. But I got to know Zion, see him when he was in the 5th grade. And back when he was in the 5th grade, I was impressed with his basketball IQ. But, you know, when you're looking at a 5th grader, you kind of think that they are a little bit ahead of everybody else, but nothing special in terms of physicality as a 5th grader with Zion Williamson.
So I saw a picture recently of him. I believe it was his freshman year, and he looked skinny. I bet he was no more than, I don't know, 6'2", or maybe not even 6 feet. What was he like as a freshman? His freshman year of high school, how do you describe Zion?
Well, Zion played point guard for me, and he was about 6'3" as a 9th grader. Very crafty with the ball, very just knew how to play the right way, and how to get his teammates involved. I think the thing that kind of stood out with me early on with Zion is just his winning attitude and his ability just to win games. But yeah, he didn't have a lot of weight on him back in the 9th grade, but you can tell that he had a chance to be very, very good.
His first dunk, Lee, do you remember the first time he rose up, and was it just a regular dunk? I mean, now we're talking about a freak of nature. I call him the ultimate freak of freaks. Do you remember, what was that first dunk like? When was it?
Well, let me back up and tell you when I first realized that he had a chance to be a very special dunker. And this was between his eighth grade year and ninth grade year, and I was working him out, and we were doing a simple dribble drive drill, and I asked him, Zion, can you dunk? And he said, I think I can. And I said, okay, next time you do this move, I want you to dunk it. And he was all over the rim dunking the ball, and I told him from that moment on that when we were working out and doing drills that he needed to make sure he pushed himself to start dunking everything. Now, fast forward to his ninth grade year, and we're in a tournament down in Charleston, South Carolina, and he stole the ball and did an in-and-out dribble at half court and took one more dribble and took off from seemingly a little bit inside of the free throw line and did that signature right-hand dunk that ended up, I think, making the top 10 on ESPN, and that was as a ninth grader.
And you think that was that was the first time he ever dunked in a game?
Well, that was one of the first that kind of went viral.
Okay.
But he had other dunks. He had other dunks in games, alley-oop dunks early on. But that was one that you kind of like, okay, that's pretty special, and it ended up going viral.
You think his first dunk in a game, though, Lee, was it his freshman year? Was it, you think, his summer after his eighth grade year? Any idea?
Yeah, definitely his freshman year. He dunked plenty of time. I think his first home game, we did a play where he did an alley-oop dunk. So that was probably his first dunk in the game, and it was probably the first game of the year. But that dunk that I told you about earlier was the dunk that kind of went viral. That when started to notice that this kid was special.
So when did he not become a point guard anymore? When did he become too big to be a point guard?
He's not too big to be a point guard right now. He played point guard for me the 4 years that he played. Now, on some plays, I played him at point, and then some plays, I played him at other spots on the court. But when we needed the ball brought up the court, there was nobody I trusted more than him to get the ball up the court and to get the ball where it needs to be. And I think Coach K is starting to use him the same way to make sure he's actually handling the ball, because he's a great ball handler. He's a great decision maker.
Well, those are the things, Lee, that you're right. Like, I think, I saw him play plenty in high school and AAU, but I think those things get lost a little bit because, frankly, like how athletic he is, right? The dunks, everything else, it kind of makes you, I don't want to say forget, but you're almost just blown away by the athleticism, the size, the strength, the agility, that you don't maybe notice the basketball IQ, you don't notice the handle, you don't notice some of those other things. Is that safe to say? I mean, did you get that a lot from people?
Well, I get it all the time. And I like to remind people that in order for him to get to the basket, he makes a dribble move.
Yeah.
Whether it's an in-and-out dribble, whether it's a behind-the-back dribble, between the legs, he makes a dribble move, which is a guard move. He makes that move, and then he finishes at the rim. And because he finished with such power, I often say his dunks shocks your soul. Because he finished like that, people just kind of forget what all he had to do to get to that.
To get there. Yeah, that's a good point. You're absolutely right. You forget. But I think people really have taken notice of it this year. Even NBA guys have been blown away by the skill level because most people just, again, maybe they didn't realize it. It's certainly become more prevalent this year. What's the biggest change in his game that you've seen over the last couple of years, Lee? Like even maybe from last year when you had him as a high school senior to now as a freshman watching him at Duke. What's the biggest change or jump?
Well, here's the thing I think with Zion. Sometimes you run across a kid and you say the sky's the limit. I don't think Zion has reached his potential yet, which is the scariest thing about it all. I mean, he's still young. He's still learning. He's still growing. I said, at the level that he's playing at now, with the speed that I thought he would have to get used to that speed, but he's done that. Even after the first time he went up and played those exhibition games in Canada, you kind of knew that he was just at another level. I said this before, and I'm gonna stand behind it. I think the kid's got a chance that one day we all say he's the best player on the planet right now.
Wow.
I think he's got that ability, and some of the stuff I see him do at Duke, I seen him do more. I think he can do more, and I think as we continue to watch him play, that we're going to realize that this kid is really, really special, and he's a once-in-a-lifetime player.
What's the most impressive thing you've ever seen him do?
On the basketball court?
Yeah, let's go on the court first. Then I might ask you off the court.
Probably on the court. And this was. Let me just tell you about one of the plays that meant the most for our program and for him completing his high school career. And we're playing Greensboro Day, and it's an ESPN game. So it's our last home game, and it's Zion Williamson last home game. And we're down. I mean, we're up by 1 point, and there's less than 10 seconds on the clock. And Greensboro Day they have the ball, and they call timeout to set up their last play. Well, they run that last play, and Zion's guarding the best player on the other team. And Zion, and this speaks volumes on his basketball IQ, but Zion read the play, stole the ball at the elbow, and then raced down the court, taking two dribbles to get to the other court, the other side of the court, and finish with a monstrous jam to kind of seal the game and also cap off his high school career at home, finishing with a game-winning dunk after a steal.
That's pretty good. The defense too. That surprised a lot of people, Lee. Like, people didn't know he played as hard as he does on both ends of the court.
And I think that's what makes him different. He put on his hard hat and goes to work. And if a ball's on the floor, he doesn't mind going down and getting it. If there's a block shot that needs to be got, he'll go and get it. If there's a rebound that will make the difference between you winning and losing, he's going to get that rebound. He just works so hard on both ends of the floor, and I think people appreciate that. The other thing I think that people are mesmerized by and so appreciative of is the fact that Zion understands that basketball is entertainment. It's entertainment. And Zion, off conversation that he and I had, he's often described himself as an entertainer.
Quick break to tell you today's show is brought to you by betonline.ag. Lots of good NBA games coming up this week to throw some money on. Go to betonline.ag today to get in on the action. BetOnline.ag is CLNS Media's preferred online sportsbook. Go to clnsmedia.com/win. Get a 50% bonus when you sign up, or use the promo code CLNS50. Don't be left on the sideline with all of this excitement going on the court. Second half of the NBA season started up last week. This week we got some good games, certainly Wednesday. Portland at Boston. That's a good one. The Celtics, can they get going again and get it going here in the second half? Whatever you do, make sure you use betonline.ag and use the promo code CLNS50 for a 50% bonus in your first deposit. Or just go to clnsmedia.com/win. Coach, how much, he stayed loyal and he stayed at Spartanburg Day School when I'm assuming a lot of other prep schools and people tried to get him to get out of there. And they probably offered, scholarship, whatever it was. I'm sure it was free wherever he could go. Were there a ton of other schools that tried to get him away from there? And what did that say about his loyalty, the fact that he stayed at Spartanburg Day School for 4 years?
Well, it says a lot about his character and his values, because you're absolutely right. Every year I heard rumors that he was going to go to this school or that school, all these basketball factories that was out there. He had opportunities to go, but he chose to stay at Spartanburg Day School to play for me, to play for the school, and play with his teammates. That loyalty and dedication you don't see in young people that often these days.
When did he blow up, Lee? When was that point? Because I don't really remember it. I don't follow recruiting as much as I did back in the day. Was it like after his sophomore summer? I looked up and he had 1 million Instagram followers one day, and I didn't pay attention to when the whole thing just blew up. Was it gradual?
It was gradually, but I think he really blew up after his sophomore year, and I knew it was different for us when going into his junior year, when we do our first scrimmage and the gym is packed for a scrimmage. And then the next scrimmage we had to limit the number of people coming in to see a scrimmage. And then we go to Peoria, Illinois, halfway across the country for us in Spartanburg, and we go there and play in a tournament, and every game we played in was sold out. So I knew something was different at that point.
Did he ever? As he was growing up, and again, you said I don't know when that power came, when he became a man, and you looked at him, and I don't know how much you noticed, because it sounds like it was like 100 pounds over 2 years that he went from maybe 6'3", 170 to 6'7", 280, whatever it was. When did
it was probably 230. Okay. Like that. But here's the thing that I noticed. We played for the state championship, Zion's 9th grade year, and we lose by 14, I think. We play the same team the next year, Zion's sophomore year. They return about everybody off their team. We return basically our same team with Zion, and the year before we looked like we were the underdog, the kids, and the next year with Zion being a sophomore playing against seniors on the other team, we looked like we were the men, and the team we played looked like they were boys.
So he looked like a man. He looked like a man as a sophomore.
Yeah,
he did. Okay, so that's where from freshman year, because when I saw that picture of him, and I think it was freshman year, he looked like a kid. I mean, he really looked like a kid, and he looked thin and just young, almost like it might have been his eighth grade year picture. But I was told it was his freshman year. And now,
well, here's the thing: he still looks young.
Yes, he does.
Even when you look at his body and his size, but if you look at his face, he's got a baby face.
Yeah.
And which tells me that he still got room to grow and to get bigger and stronger.
Well, bigger. I don't know if he can get bigger. I mean, everybody talks about Lee that he needs to lose. Like if I'll talk to NBA guys, they'll say the one thing they're worried about is he's carrying too much weight for somebody that plays the way he does, as hard and obviously as athletic and bouncy as he is. They worry about that he's carrying 285. Do you think he needs to drop? And I know he told me last year he got fat at one point because he got hurt, right?
Well, here's the thing about Zion's size. I look at him sometime and I'm like, oh, he's not supposed to do the thing he does at his size. It just doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, he's doing it, and he's doing it well. And I say with his size, what makes it so amazing is he's got so much agility, he's got so much flexibility, and you just know that it should be virtually impossible for him to do the things that he do with his size. So I'd say, God gifted him with his size and strength and speed and quickness, and we're looking at someone that's just different, and you can't explain it. You just got to appreciate it.
What's your favorite, maybe funniest Zion story? Something off the court. You ever have to get did you ever have to really get on him too hard for anything? Did he do anything wrong that you had to kind of, I don't know, suspend him, but punish him for?
Well, I can say, honestly, I was always waiting on that attitude to come out.
Yeah.
Because you look at a kid who got all these social media people following him, and he's got all these accolades. He's getting all these awards. And, he's going to this All-American camp and that camp. And you always hear about when you say, okay, on the line, everybody get ready to run, that you always waiting for him to say, I'm not running.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
But that never happened. He always had the best attitude of any kid I ever coached. He always had the best work ethic of any kid I ever coached. And here's the thing that I think people don't realize is that while he could go out there and play with millions of people watching, he was probably one of the shyest kids I've ever been around.
Yeah, he doesn't like to talk a lot, right? He
Well, you put him in front of the camera, and he's so charismatic that you wouldn't know that. But he's an introverted by nature, and he one time when I think it was UCLA came to see him, one of our games, and I was actually talking with the assistant coach for UCLA, and Zion was sitting with his friends at the other end of the court compared to where we were at the other end of the gym, and so I motioned for Zion to come to where we were, and I remember telling the coach that Zion is not going to walk in front of all these people. He's going to go the back way.
Yep.
And he said, "Nah." He said, "It's just shorter to come for him to come right to where we are from where he's at. I said, watch. And sure enough, Zion got out of the stand, went the back way, the hallway, to come to where we were. And it was a big joke about that. And Zion said, ain't no way I'm walking in front of all of them people. and I said, Zion, you getting ready to play in front of all these people. He said, it doesn't matter. It's different. When I'm out there playing, I don't think about all these people, but walking in front of them, that's different.
Yeah, he looks like he's always having fun. I mean, he's smiling all the time, whether he's playing the other night at Syracuse, whether he's on the bench cheering for his teammates. It's funny. Everybody wants to have their opinion on after he got hurt. Should he play again? Should he shut it down? You heard Scottie Pippen, other guys say he should shut it down. But he really does look like he loves playing college basketball and just playing basketball. And Charles Barkley had a great statement, Lee. He said, like, this is what we do. This is what we do as ball players. We play.
Well, here's the thing with Zion. I know he loves the game. There's no doubt. And when you really love the game, you wanna play. And God, and I said this earlier, God gifted him with all this ability. And I don't think Zion takes it lightly.
Yeah. And
I think he generally wants to play every opportunity he can, whether it's with a game in front of all those fans at Duke or a pickup game. I mean, Zion wants to play basketball because he loves it that much. And I think it broke his heart not being able to play in that UNC game. And I know, and I may lose you going through
Sure.
this little section.
Yep.
But I'll finish if I don't. But I know for a fact, because I talked to him the day of the UNC game, and he was so excited about playing. And I just reflected on the fact that one of the earliest conversations we've had was the fact that he was looking forward to playing in that Duke UNC rivalry game, and he had did everything in his power to prepare himself, and he was ready for it. And then his shoe failed him, and I think that was the cause.
He's not playing tomorrow against Virginia Tech. Coach K ruled him out of that one with a knee injury. Doesn't appear to be serious. Is there anything that would lead you to believe that he won't come back this year?
Look, here's the thing I do know. I think Zion loves to play, and he went to Duke to have an opportunity to play for Duke and to represent Duke and be an ambassador of Duke basketball and have a chance to win a national championship. I don't think that's changed.
Yeah.
I really think he wants to do that. Now, on the flip side of that, I think everybody is always in his ear about, you need to just wait to play in the NBA and all this stuff. And I get all of that. And I wouldn't be upset with them or his family if they made that decision not to play. But knowing Zion and knowing his heart, I would say that he's going to finish what he started. He hasn't finished what he started yet.
One more break to tell you today's show brought to you by The Athletic. If you haven't heard about The Athletic by now, you must be living under a rock. These guys have been crushing every element of sports coverage imaginable. Whether you're looking for specific local coverage or sports discussed under a national lens, or really anything in between, make sure you take a look at The Athletic. No pop-ups, no ads, high-quality content waiting behind every single click. Zach Harper, Frank Isola, Sam Amick, who was a guest in the show, Shams Charania, also a guest on this show, and my co-worker at Watch Stadium, have you covered on everything NBA related. If college is more your style, make sure you check out my guy Seth Davis, Dana O'Neill, Brian Hamilton. You can't get content like this anywhere else. 600 to 750 new articles a week. Who else is pushing out quality content like that? If you haven't signed up yet, take advantage of this deal because it's not going to last forever. Go to theathletic.com/Goodman. Get 40% off your monthly subscription. That's a subscription for less than $3 a month just by going to theathletic.com/Goodman. Shams, Amick, Harper, Seth Davis, Dana O'Neill, Brian Hamilton, all for less than $3 a month. Sign me up. Sign yourself up at theathletic.com/Goodman. Who do you compare him to, Lee? We all try to find a good comparison for Zion. You've already said he's kind of unique, but is there somebody that you've seen over the years that you like? You've heard a good comparison. I mean, we've heard everybody, Blake Griffin, Charles Barkley, Sean Kemp, LeBron, like a little bit of everybody. Is there somebody that you like?
Well, I think he's Zion. I don't think you could compare him to anybody.
Yep.
I think you could say he does this like this player, he does that like this player, and you got to put them all into a blender and say, okay, this is Zion now. I think the thing that makes him unique, I mean, people compare him to LeBron, but I think he's more agile than LeBron. People compare him to Charles Barkley, and I'm like, well,
he's more explosive. Yeah,
he's more explosive than Charles Barkley. Well, Dominique. Well, he handles the ball better than maybe Dominique. But when you really put things in perspective, all of these are Hall of Famer players you're talking about.
Yep.
Comparing him, and so that's why I say he's Zion. His skill set is all Zion. It's what God gave him, and I think that's why you can't compare him to anybody. You just got to appreciate what he does.
How many backboards did you see him break over the course of his? I mean, I guess couple years that he was big, strong, and could, really power through.
Well, people have actually the engineers have done a better job with these backboards over the years, because early on you had people like Shaquille O'Neal and other folks breaking these backboards, but Zion hasn't broken a backboard. One thing I think people don't realize is that he dunks with so much power, but a lot of his dunks are clean dunks, where the ball don't even touch the rim. Will he break a backboard? That remains to be seen. But I think I definitely know that he's probably one of the hardest dunkers that I ever have seen dunk a basketball. And here's the other thing that's amazing. I've seen him do dunks in practice and just after practice and in high school that I haven't seen pro people do. So I'm never amazed anymore with seeing someone do a dunk now, because I pretty much saw Zion do just about every dunk there is.
I was going to say, next year, NBA All-Star game, I already said, it's over. Nobody's beating him in a dunk contest. Has anybody beaten him in a dunk contest?
No. He won his first dunk contest that I know about when he was in the 9th grade, and he hadn't lost one yet.
I mean, can anybody beat him? Who's the guy out there that you fear could beat Zion in a dunk contest in the NBA?
Well, here's what I do know. I mean, that anybody can, on any given night, can beat anybody, whether it's a basketball game or a dunk contest or a game of horse. it could happen. But here's what I do know: there's dunks that Zion can do that people had never seen before, because I've seen him do it.
Yep.
And I think it's like any given player that's very good. You don't know how good they are until they are actually in the moment and they're challenged in that moment. I think once we see him challenged in that moment, then I think you'll see him go to another level. And I'm anxious to see that happen.
What's his vertical, Lee? Do you know?
What they say, above 48, maybe 50.
Come on. Really?
Yes. Here's some of the comparison that I've heard other coaches compare him to. And one of the comparisons that I think kind of sticks out, and this is who I think probably might be the best player of all time, is when I was talking with Roy Smith, and he said, I coached Jordan.
Yep. Roy Williams, you mean? Roy Williams.
Yep. Warren Williams, I'm sorry.
Sure.
And he said, I coached Michael Jordan, and I've seen Zion do stuff that I never saw Michael Jordan be able to do. So I thought that was pretty impressive for him to say that.
What's, if I said to you, finish the sentence, the best thing about Zion Williamson is blank, how would you finish that?
His heart. And let me elaborate on that. I often say his heart can lift 1,000 pounds. What Zion has been able to do since he's been on this planet and played basketball is he's always been able to elevate people around him. Not for his own benefit, but for their benefit. I remember when he was in maybe the 7th grade or 8th grade, and he won MVP of a little AAU tournament that didn't mean a whole lot. But it was a little a basketball tournament, and he gave that trophy to his teammate. And I remember asking his coach, who was his stepdad at the time, why did Zion give his trophy away to that kid? And I said, I don't remember the kid doing anything. and Coach Anderson said, well, the kid made his first shot of the year in this game.
Wow.
First basket. And so Zion gave his MVP trophy to that kid. And that was in the 8th grade. And I remember when Zion was in the 10th grade, 11th, and he had just been put on the Slam magazine. And he had all these followers on social media, and we're in a team camp, and I'm working out, or I'm having kids that's in the 9th and 10th grade and 11th grade play, and Zion obviously didn't play, but he was there. He insisted that make sure he was there. And it was during a timeout in the middle of June, and Zion was giving water, or someone was giving water to the kids, and then I heard Zion say, "Do anybody else need any more water?" and these were 9th and 10th graders who would some of them would never get on the court in the varsity game, and Zion during the summer were giving them water.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
And then the last thing that speaks about how he cares for his teammates and his coaches and the program is when he got Player of the Year in our conference. And they were doing the all-tournament team, and they announced all of the other members of the team, and each time they announced a name, that particular person would go up and get their award. But then when they announced Zion as Player of the Year, which we all knew he was going to be Player of the Year, the first person he hugged was me, his coach, and then the other coaches. And then he went and gave all of his teammates a high five or a handshake or that, how these young people like to say. And then after all of that, he went out to receive his award. And to me, it brought tears to my eyes because I realized at that moment that this kid, after winning everything that he had won and everything he's done, he thought enough of me as his coach and the other coaches and his teammates to include us in that moment of him getting Player of the Year. And I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, he appears to just get it. Whatever it is, he just kind of has it. And he's been blessed with obviously unbelievable physical skills, but obviously the part that has blown me away is some of the other things. Just being a great teammate, being humble, not trash talking when all of us, if we could dunk like he did or does, we'd pound our chest, we'd yell and scream, we'd have fun with it because, again, it's just insane what he's able to do on the court. So, listen, Lee, I appreciate you taking the time.
Yes.
It was a pleasure. Good luck. Good luck the rest of the season, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Okay, great. We're planning our tournament, Erskine College. So, trying to get our kids ready to be successful there.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Lee. Take care. Thanks again.
Yes, sir. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.